Okay, I'm going to walk you through a jumbled word guessing game. So in this simple game, we're going to hard code into the game a word in which we want the user to guess. We're going to print the jumbled word to the screen, and then we're going to ask the user to guess what the word is. And then using an if statement, we're going to check if the word is correct or not. So it'll look a little bit like this. Welcome to our guessing game. So it's sort of thing you might use with sort of spelling checking, that type of thing. And we're going to print a message. The jumbled word is whatever the jumbled letters are. We ask the user what is it. We wait for their input. They type in a word, and then we check if it's correct or not correct. So what I need to show you before you try this on your own is really how to jumble up the word. Okay, and this is what I've done here. So I have, just at the Python run environment, I've created a variable called guessWord in which I've hard-coded in the word table. Okay. I then take the word table, which is in guessWord, and I make it into a list, and I create a variable called guessList, which stores that result. So when I do print guessList, this is what I get. So it's taken each of the letters of table and it's broken them up and put them as different elements in the list. Now I need to use the random library, so I import random. And then what I need to do is randomly shuffle guess list. So I take guess list, shuffle it about randomly. Okay. So guess list has now been shuffled randomly. And my shuffled word, so table shuffled, is now what I have to do. Of course, now it's sitting in a list. Okay, and if I look here, the result is actually shuffled at B-E-T-L-A, but it's sitting in a list B-E-T-L-A. I need it to look like a word to the user on the screen. So I have to sort of rejoin the list back into a word. Okay, so shuffled word is a string. So the syntax is, it's my quote. So I'm using my quote as in here. So I'm taking each element that's in a quote and I'm joining that. So I'm taking guess list, and on the quotes I'm joining all of those into a string which is being stored in shuffled word, and then I'm printing shuffled word to the screen, and this is what I get. Okay, so you need the random library, you need to break your word into a list, you need to shuffle your list, and then rejoin the word back into a string. Okay, so if you think about that for a minute. Okay, and this is the answer. Okay, so import random. Here's my welcome message across the top. Welcome to our guessing game, and underlined 28 times, blank lines. Now I've hard-coded in the word coding here. I've created a new variable called L, which is short for list, and I've taken my guess word string. I've converted it into a list called L. I then random shuffle L. I join L back into a variable called shuffled word. I then print the user. The jumbled word is shuffled word. The player guesses at an input prompt. What is it? They type in a guess. It goes into player guess. So it's all, we're dealing with strings here, so it's fine. If you were doing sort of guess the number type things, you'd have to convert this into an int, but it's a string, so it's grand. And then I'm using an if statement to test for equivalence. So if player guess, so if what they entered here is equivalent to the original guess word here. And make sure you don't check for shuffled word, you're checking for the original guess word. Then print well done, else print hard luck. Let's just try that with something else. So here I'm going to put in the word I'm looking for is chair, and we're going to run that. Okay, welcome to our guessing game. The jumbled word is C-H-R-A-I. What is it? So I'm going to type in some rubbish, and check. So now it's taking this at the input here into player guess, and then it should execute the else. Hard luck. Okay. So what you might want to do is look at how could I develop that game further, maybe using a for loop and a continue string to allow the user several guesses to guess the word. And in fact, you could even develop it even further again by generating random words as opposed to words that you've hard-coded in. Maybe if you were a primary school teacher, you could have a list of the words that are on their spelling test for that week. So let's say, for example, I could have this week's words is equal to a list, chair, hair, gosh, what else rhymes with that? Layer, etc., etc. We'll do etc. for now. And then you could pick a random word off that list. Okay, so you'd go through, you'd pick a random, don't forget, so these have elements. So this is, if I do print this week's words 0, it'll give me chair. This week's words 1 will give me hair. This week's words 2 will give me layer. And so you could create a random integer between 0 and, well, here we have 2, so 0, 1, 2. So a random integer for the length of the spellings that you're looking to test them on. Put the random int in here. Yeah, pick off a random word. So guess word then becomes equal to whatever the random integer is, and then you're testing them on that. Okay, that's just one idea, but there's lots of other ideas how you could expand on that. I'd probably look at using some sort of for loop, so maybe, or even you could have a score. So if they get this, how about this? If you have a score, yeah, so score becomes equal to +1. Okay, so let's go up here and we declare our variables at the top. So score is 0. So that's how many they've got right. And at the end of the game, you might print, well done, you've got, 10 out of 15 right, or well done, you got a 10 today. And so you could use loops to give them a number of chances to guess the word correctly. You can use scores. You could ask them, do they want to continue, etc., etc. So have fun with that.